fellow viewers, both Kaiju and Jaeger. I'm Kelby.
I'm Lola.
I'm Emma, and together we three are
the
NerdStreet Hoodlums.
The notorious lady nerd gang, here to give you unadulterated opinions on all things lady and nerd culture.
Welcome to the second installment in our Summer of Robots summer movie series. This week, the movie we're talking about is Pacific Rim, which turned 1 year old on July 12th, so last Saturday.
Happy birthday, baby!
Happy birthday, Kaiju and Jaeger.
I first heard about Pacific Rim at Comic-Con 2 years ago. Because I had a friend that was staying in our hotel with us who camped out for Hall H all day because he just wanted to go to the Hobbit panel. And he ended up sitting in for the Pacific Rim panel. So when he came back, we were like, oh, tell us, how was it? How was Hall H? And he's like, guys, Guillermo del Toro has a new movie coming out. And I was like, yeah. And I could have set the whole hotel room on fire. I was so excited. And I was like, the giant robots fighting giant monsters, all I ever wanted. Oh my God. And then, you know, the movie came out, and it was so much more than just giant robots and giant monsters. Like, there were so many other beautiful things, and, like, Pacific Rim changed my life, y'all.
The first time I saw Pacific Rim was very much a bonding moment for me. It had just come out, and I hadn't had a chance to see it yet. And Noelle Stevenson, who has been a guest on our show, the lovely Ginger Hayes, she said to me, have you seen it yet? And I said, no. And she said, you have to see it. So we saw it together. It was her second time. It was my first time. She held onto a pillow, sort of like in a dead bug position the whole time. And I had my entire fist in my mouth.
The first time I saw Pacific Rim, it was this weekend where, like, I went out with a bunch of my coworkers, all of them men, and we went out drinking before we saw Pacific Rim. So I went and saw it in the IMAX theater, and it was just like, giant robots! But I remember people that when we left, a lot of the guys I was with were like, man, that movie would have been a lot better if there wasn't a story. Because they like loved the giant robot battles, but they thought the story was cheesy. And it was funny watching it again, because I'd already seen it, and I was like, oh, I thought the story was okay. Yeah. But then I watched it with my dad, and we were having like internet connection problems, and so the movie kept like pausing, and then my dad would explain the next 10 minutes of the movie before it happened. And then when I watched it again the other night, I was like, yeah, this plot is really freaking predictable. but does it not unenjoyable because it's predictable, but like there is not a single original piece of plot in Pacific Rim.
But you know, I feel like that's what makes it a good film in comparison to like Godzilla, which came out this year, which I enjoyed. I did enjoy Godzilla. But the thing about Pacific Rim is that Pacific Rim knows how ridiculous it is.
It does know how ridiculous it is.
It has no illusions about it. It's not trying to be highbrow in the slightest.
It is so sincere in what it's doing.
Super sincere.
And it's just all on the table, sincere, and look at this fun thing.
And what you're seeing are these, like, movie tropes and giant robot tropes repeated that you have already seen, and that is what is so appealing about it. I mean, right down to the end of the movie, which is like the ending of every James Bond film ever, where it's like Bond and the babe, they escape in 1 second, and then they're in their rescue boat, and everyone's like, hey guys, hey, we're gonna rescue you, and they're just like making out.
No, we're not done hugging.
Although I will say that there are tropes that are reused a lot in the film, but then there are tropes that are reused a lot, but then completely turned on its head. Like Raleigh Beckett is totally not your typical action movie protagonist.
I would agree with that statement.
When you look at a character like Raleigh Beckett, like if it was any other character in his position, they would be breaking all the rules. They would be demanding things.
They would be more of a Captain Kirk style of like, I'm gonna start fighting.
I'm gonna bite out the skin of my teeth.
Right, but Raleigh Beckett, like, is such a gentle character.
He really is,
and he's always questioning. He's like, what's the deal with Mako Mori? Why won't Stacker Pentecost let her be my pilot? I want her to be my pilot. Like, it's so not, and it's also not his story. It's Mako's story.
It's the story of Mako and Stacker Pentecost.
And it's super refreshing, but we're just, I feel like Raleigh Beckett is more of the audience. Like, we're supposed to
Yes,
be...
we're going on the journey
we are,
with him.
Yeah, we are Raleigh Beckett, but the story is really about Stacker Pentecost and Mako Mori. And I really like that about it.
I agree with that statement. And it brings up something that I really wanted to address about Pacific Rim, which was recently there was this really interesting and overall I really enjoyed it article on the internet going around about basically the trope of the fake strong female character, where basically they set up these girls. They're very smart and interesting and powerful, but ultimately they don't really do anything. And overall, I agreed with the article, except it talked about Mako Mori. And
that's why I'm giving it the side eye right now.
Exactly. And when I was rewatching Pacific Rim, I was specifically watching for that. And I was like, wow, they misinterpreted this.
Well, that article, I feel like they didn't even watch the movie, because the way that that author is like describing Mako's last moment, she's like, he knocks her out. It's like,
her oxygen got cut off.
Her oxygen got cut off while she killed the last kaiju they needed to get to the breach.
And literally all he did was he was like, we did it. Here's
it.
my oxygen. I hope you live. Bye.
Yeah, I'm gonna blow this up. Like,
to
Raleigh
be
didn't do
specific,
shit.
his words are,
anybody can
all
fall.
we have to do is fall. Anybody can fall. I feel like Pacific Rim is a really good example of something that gets talked about online as the female gaze.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, it's very
Yes.
common. It's the difference between men, hunky men being depicted in a way that like men want to see, like a Batman, like a Christian Bale, like a and the way that this film, and also Thor 2 or Thor 1 depict it, where it's like, how do women want to look at hunky
completely. And even though I feel like, you know, visually, Raleigh Beckett and oh god, I'm not gonna say, and Chuck Hansen, they look the same. I'm sorry, they really could be twins.
Let me add one of my other favorite moments. While watching this with Noelle Stevenson, she can't tell any of the white men in this movie.
I know.
They all look the same. At one point in the fight, she looked at me and she went, sometimes I forget which one is which.
But you know what I will say about the white people I can tell apart are Bern Gorman and Charlie Day.
Science bros.
Which, by the way, there's this really tender scene between the two of them where they're like, yes, we're gonna do it like the Jaeger pilots do, and we're gonna drift together with the kaiju. And I was like, this inspired a whole slew of slash fiction, and I looked it up, and it sure did.
What is with Tumblr and scrawny white men naked together?
But you know what it is specifically about those two characters is that they are Bert and Ernie.
Yes, they are.
You know, like they're the ambiguously gay duo that like lives together in an apartment
and bicker.
And bicker. Like,
although in the novelization of Pacific Rim, it is revealed that Herman is married.
He is
to a beautiful black woman.
Oh, well, nice.
That a lot of people have fan casted Gina Torres as.
Oh yeah.
So I'm all about that. I am all
there
about
that. There is no reason he can't have a little science on the side.
I love those characters.
Yeah, they're definitely my favorite characters, aside from Ron Perlman, of course, as Hannibal Chau.
This is my theory about Hannibal Chau. So Hannibal Chau runs the underground kaiju market.
Mm-hmm.
He sells off remains. You know, he has all of the skin lice,
yep.
and all that stuff.
Gross. Yep.
Super
the
gross.
cuticles.
Yeah, the cuticles, the poop, the skin,
bones.
the bone powder. Bone powder. For male potency. But when we are first introduced to Hannibal Chau, we find out about him through Stacker Pentecost. It's Stacker Pentecost who recommends Newt
to go find him. Yep.
My theory is that the reason Stacker knows Hannibal Chau is because Hannibal Chau used to work for the Kaiju Science Division for the PPRD. Or the Pan-Pacific Defense? PPDC.
Yeah.
You know what? I support that because
why else would he know?
Exactly.
Why else would he know? Anatomy? Why would he know how to preserve it?
He knows how to keep a skin louse alive if you soak it in ammonia.
Why would he know that? Also, he's also drifted with a kaiju. Mm-hmm. He and Newt have that in common. So I think that Hannibal Chau was part of the science division, drifted with a kaiju, got totes freaked out, went AWOL from the PPDC. Stacker found him later and was just like, all right, you know what? I'm not going to mess up what you have here. I will leave you here. But when I need you, you owe me. Because I'm not turning you in right now.
Yep.
And I think that is how Hannibal Chau became Hannibal Chau.
I have one final thought.
Okay.
I love that the government's solution to the clearly amateur approach of punching monsters with robots is to build a wall and then hide behind it before they go.
P.S. Clearly this is a universe where Attack on Titan doesn't exist.
Right.
Because otherwise they would know that shit doesn't work.
Does not work.
Don't
at all.
hide behind walls. Tall
Also-
things just knock them down.
Also, have you never read sort of Ice and Fire? Like, are you
Song of
not?
Ice
Are you
and Fire,
not? Are you not watching Game of Thrones? Because
Walls.
Seriously.
walls do nothing.
I would just like to pose to any of our fans who love like making Photoshop things. I would like to see scenes from A Song of Ice and Fire and also from Attack on Titan.
But with
Cut
Kaiju.
And also cut with the construction worker who has one line in the film, and this is his line. He went through that wall like it was nothing. If you could make that
If
for
you
me,
could do that, that'd be great.
I would really appreciate
We'll
that.
send you a pin. We'll send you a NerdStreet.
Yeah, we have pins. We'll totally send you
We will
one.
send you a pin
Yeah.
if you will Photoshop that for us. Whoever does that.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to conclude this episode in our Summer of Robots movie series. Be sure to like this video if you liked it, subscribe to our channel, follow us on Twitter at NerdStreet, find us on Facebook, Tumblr, Instagram, all those things, which is where we will announce the next episode in our Summer of Robots movie series. We will be taking a brief hiatus. It is summer and, you know, people go on vacation.
We got stuff to do.
We got stuff to do.
Yeah, or they get internships to do.
Yeah, so
Whoa.
Kelby's going away, I'm going away, Lola's
I'll be
working
here.
a lot.
I'll be working and writing.
But
and
we will
writing a
always be
thing.
thinking of you.
Always thinking of you, because we love you so much.
Very true.
But in the meantime, guys, if you have any thoughts that you would like to share about Pacific Rim, feel free to leave it in the comments below. Also, any suggestions you might have about movies that you would like to see in our continued Summer of Robots series. We've already gotten some great suggestions, specifically from Sam. RoboCop, all in caps. So no new Summer of Robots next week, but keep your eyes peeled for some bonus content and tune in anyway. See you guys soon.
Bye.